In this short video, we'll introduce Neo4j and take a look at a few of the key concepts for working with graph databases. Neo4j, first and foremost, it's important to know that it's open source, which means it's likely to remain readily available into the near future. It's not likely to get locked up behind a vendor. It's currently the most popular graph database in use, and it's designed to be transactional in nature, and it's ACID compliant. It's also designed for scalability, so if you have massive data sets that need to be stored across multiple machines, Neo4j is designed to handle that. There are three basic data items in Neo4j, and these just come from basic graph theory. There are nodes, and those are the basic building blocks of your graphs. They're connected by edges, which Neo4j will call relationships, and each of those objects, nodes and edges, can then have multiple attributes, which will be key value pairs assigned to those nodes or edges. In Neo4j, we typically call the attributes properties. Let's take a look at an example. So suppose you wish to use a graph database to model flight data across the United States. Here are 4 observations from a potential data set, where we have the flight number and airline, the departure airport, the arrival airport, and the capacity of the flight in terms of passengers. So what we need to do is figure out how do we model this with nodes and edges so that we have an efficient database in Neo4j. Here's a common first try. It might be tempting, since flights go from one airport to another, to model the airports as the nodes of our graph and then the flights as the relationships or the edges of the graph. And so we would build 2 nodes for the starting and ending airports and then connect them with a flight. This has one fatal flaw, though. We want each flight to be the same type of relationship. And in Neo4j, you can only have one relationship of a particular type between 2 edges. So we would only be allowed one flight from one airport to another. And we're probably not going to be able to get by with that. We're probably going to have multiple flights, for instance, from Boston Logan International Airport to LaGuardia. In a single day, I'm sure there are several flights between those airports. And that won't work with this model. So another try might be this. We could do this instead, where we have the nodes be airports, but we also make each flight a node, and then we assign it a relationship to each of 2 airports. So the flight gets a node, and then we say, give it a relationship of depart to the departing airport, and give it a relationship of arrive to the arrival airport. This would make it easy for us to track then which flights are arriving at a particular airport, which flights are departing from a particular airport, and so on. And so when we build our queries, those will be easy pieces to fill in. So this will be a much better model. There are also other models, depending on your use case, that you could use here, but this is probably the simplest viable model for this example. What we'll study in future videos, we're going to take a look at installing Neo4j if you haven't done that already. We'll then take a look at how to put data into Neo4j. We'll start with a command line, and after that we'll move on to look at how to do batch loading of data. We'll then talk a little bit about how to manipulate the data once it's in Neo4j, and then how to query that data. And finally, we'll take a look at some of the different common use cases for Neo4j.